older I get, the more I realize that some of the things I spent years worrying about were never worth losing my peace over. I used to think I needed to impress people, have all the answers, stay in control, and just make everyone happy. But after going through menopause, grief, divorce stress, even some health scares, and also seasons where I had no idea what God was doing, I've learned something really important. The peace actually came from when I stopped trying to be God and let God be God. In this video, I want to share about 6 things that matter less to me now than when they did when I was younger, and what I've learned in the process. If you are new here, my name is Alicia. I share my faith journey, some active lifestyle info, menopause, and some of my health experiences, and also lessons God is teaching me in this season of life. If you're in a season of waiting, healing, or learning to trust God more deeply, I think this conversation will really encourage you today. One thing that I feel the need to no longer do is impress people. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be kind, respectful, or represent ourselves well, but there's a difference between being authentic and performing for acceptance. Now, I realize that some people will never like me no matter how much I try to prove myself. I could change my appearance, my personality, my opinions, my behavior, and they still might not accept me or like me. But coming to that realization was freeing, because if someone has already made up their mind about me, then what is the point of trying to do that? I can make myself so tired trying to change their mind, and it causes me to lose myself in that process. So my focus has shifted from how can I impress people to can people see the fruit of what God's work in my life is. I want people to see Him in me. Another thing that matters less to me now is comparison. It's like when you compare yourself, that's like the fastest way to get discouraged. Social media doesn't make it any easier. You can look at someone else's marriage, their body, ministry, career, finances, or even the opportunities that they've come across and think, now, why is my life not like this? I've had seasons where I've lost weight. I felt really confident. And then seasons where my menopause symptoms, grief, and stress that caused me to gain weight back and feel like I was just starting over. But God reminded me that He's not writing a so-called copy and paste story. He's working in each of us differently. He's doing things different in me. So what is for me is going to be for me, and what is for you is going to be for you. The older I get, the more I realize that I don't need to keep score with other people. I need to stay faithful with what God has placed in my own hands, so I wouldn't have time to be worrying about what's going on with someone else. I used to think that being strong meant that I had everything figured out. But life has a way of showing you how limited your understanding really is. There have been situations with my health, my legal circumstances, relationships, finances, and just future plans where I really didn't know what to do next. And instead of pretending like I had all the answers, I learned to pray to God about even the small details. Sometimes we bring God in only the big emergencies, but I've discovered that He cares about the minute details as well. I don't need to act independent of God to prove that I'm capable. I think that real maturity is recognizing that wisdom comes with dependence on Him. Another thing is I like plans. I like knowing what's going to happen next. I like feeling prepared for things. But some of the most painful seasons in my life were seasons where I realized I could not control the outcome. I couldn't control how quickly things happened or how quickly situations were resolved. I couldn't control whether doors were opened or closed. And really trying to control those things just kind of made me exhausted and even a little anxious. So the breakthrough came when I started praying God, give me the steps and help me stop interfering with what you're trying to do. In other words, save me from myself. Surrendering is not weakness. It's trusting that God can see what I cannot see. Next is trusting God's timing. Now, waiting is uncomfortable at times, especially when you're ready for something to really change. I've had seasons to where I wanted to know something immediately. I wanted to heal fast, or I needed a resolution quickly. I needed clarity like right now because I was confused. But I can't rush God. If I force a door to be open before it's time, I may step into something that I'm not prepared for. So the older I get, the more I realize that the delays are not always denial. Sometimes God is protecting us, preparing us, or developing our character while we're in this season of waiting. Faith isn't just believing God can do it. It's also trusting Him when He has not done it yet. When I stopped trying to make everyone happy, that brought me so much freedom. I used to carry the emotional weight and responsibility of other people's reactions. So if someone was disappointed, upset, or disagreed with a decision that I made, it's like I felt that I failed. I finally realized that you can't make everyone happy. There's going to always be someone that's going to disagree with your boundaries. They're going to want a different version of you. Someone may be simply unhappy because you chose obedience over approval. And if I spend my life trying to satisfy every person around me, I'm going to lose the person that God is trying to make me to be. And I'd rather disappoint people than to disobey God. The older I get, the more I realize that many of these things don't matter anymore. You know, the impressing people, comparing myself to people, trying to have all the answers, being in control, rushing God's timing, and also trying to make everyone happy. What matters most to me is becoming the person that God is shaping me to be. You know, having that peace and being obedient and trusting God even when I don't know what's going on or I don't understand. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is the one thing that matters less to you now than it did when you were younger? If this video has encouraged you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who you think could benefit from something like this. Take care.